Welcome back to Aw Ship, a team building focused podcast. This is the 14th episode. I'm here to talk and work through a very special and important subject for all companies, for all businesses. Building a better team with the customer in mind. This is missing from everyday life. There are companies large and small that have forgotten who are paying their salaries or the bills of that company that individual works for. You see this every day. Trust me. Thank you to everybody that has returned and given me feedback. Any feedback is welcome. That is the only way that this will be better and more enjoyable and usable by you, the listener or watcher. Please subscribe to my LinkedIn profile or here on YouTube for any updates or new videos that will be dropped. You can also email me for consultation of your team or content suggestions for my podcasts. RA Enterprises is here to help everyone. Anyone can learn, anyone can help. Over my years as the Directors of Operations for Premier Logistics Partners, I've learned and seen how a good team that works together can impact others. RA Enterprises is how I'm giving back to others. It's how I'm helping others, serving others. It's at the same time, it's making me a better person, a better husband, and a better father, and a better leader to my operations team at PLP. Ripped from the headlines this week. Well, this one's a double doozy in a little bit of a way. We're going to talk about the trucking environment pressure that exists right now. There's a lot of pressure in my industry, whether or not it's brokerage or carrier or technology. There's just a lot of pressure. Tonnage is down overall in the OTR world. OTR stands for over the road. And a lot of companies miss their first quarter projections and expectations. Right now we're in a real funky place in our economy, and it's just a little different. But companies like Schneider National, Warner Enterprises, PAM Transport, Landstar, Knight-Swift all reported, different numbers of missing expectations, sort of a softer environment that right now is going on. That also is true in the LTL world. That's less than truckload. So those are your carriers like XPO, Saia, AAA Cooper, you have Old Dominion Freight Lines. Those are carriers within that LTL space. Tonnage is down, volume is down, capacity's up in both arenas. Sort of headlines of the week really were just basically that FedEx announced that they were going to close 7 terminals across the U.S. They have some overlapping territories, so they're going to restructure that a little bit. XPO has actually brought on several of their YRC terminal purchases are now up and running or about to be up and running here very shortly for XPO. And Saia went internal to find their new CFO. They tapped a current employee for that. So in all, the trucking world is getting by. What do I mean by that? Most brokerages are able to fill their customers' orders at a reasonable price. Customers are able to move their freight at a reasonable cost. Carriers, however, are a little pinched. Right now, that is one of the things that the rates right now, just because there's a lot of drivers out there on the roads, they're just, that price able to maintain a low place right now, which is sort of hurting the OTR guys. But that's due to capacity. Again, there are just many drivers out there. We are in a freight recession still. So I want to make sure that's sort of basically what I'm trying to sum up here in this rip from headlines is we are still in a trucking freight recession. So I wanted to, for those of you that aren't in the freight industry, it's a period of time of declining freight volumes, which indicates an overcapacity in the industry. So when I talked about the fact of rates on the OTR guys, because if you have 30 or 40 carriers or drivers sitting around and you have only in a certain market, and let's say there's only 20 loads in that market on that day, well, then it becomes a bidding war on who's going to give the buyer the best cost or the lowest cost. So it's it's an ebb and flow of the business that I'm in. So again, that's sort of the rip from headlines is just the overall pressure that's on the trucking world and this vertical. Today I want to talk about respect and how respect goes back to sort of the basics of your team, your culture, your company, and how that really, again, we talk about the foundation, right? That level of trust, that foundation from the Lencioni pyramid. The way that you interact with others, the way that you have those conversations, those hard conversations, it comes down to a level of respect, which in a way is a foundation. And, that the bottom layer of that pyramid of trust. So let's look at the definition of respect. A feeling of deep admiration for somebody by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Second definition that can be pulled is in regard for feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. So when you think of respect, you think of our family members, our loved ones, our wives, our husbands, our children. That's the respect, right? I need respect from this individual, blah, 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 right? But it has a different flavor with it in the workplace. So if you look at it from a workplace context, this is sort of how you would define it. It's valuing each participant in a work process, their individualities and contributions they make. Work environment unites people with different backgrounds, life experiences, and respect to each other's helps overcome differences and creates a smooth running company or workplace. So, sort of mind-blowing in a way. Why would you need to value people in a work process? Well, that comes down to individual respect of their positions and their knowledge and some of the other things that they go through. You have to really think about what that is. So again, it mirrors what the normal definition is. A deep admiration for someone by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Well, you're valuing the participant in a work process. There are, within a process, within any type of company, one person does not do it all 100% of the time, 100% on their own. It takes a team to get a product or service or a sale from the start to the finish. That's always true. Not one person needs to do it alone. Even in a business that the person works for themselves, they're still dependent on other people to give them something that they're selling. So you take an independent contract seller for life insurance. We'll just throw that one out there. They're selling somebody else's product. Yes, they are making it happen, but they're taking materials and things from a certain company that they're repping for to then get to an end user. Let's look at another part of that. Unites people with different backgrounds and life experiences. It's 100% true. Nobody in this world is like you or me. We're all individuals. We all bring different things to the table. So one thing I've talked about in the past, and again, where and why is this podcast important? It's important about building a strong, cohesive team in your company so that you can give your customer the most excellent service that they need and demand. You got to remember the +1, deliver +1 part of Raving Fans. If you take everybody's experiences and you put it in a pot, you turn it, you mix it around, and you debate and talk about and interact over that pot, over that vessel of ideas of items, you're going to get a stronger solution, product, or service for your customer out of it. 100% of the time. You're never going to have collaboration that produces a bad product. Never. That's a guarantee. Now, respect is also a byproduct. it brings other things into play here. So it's about a mindset of being respectful, right? So let's talk about a few things. There's, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 7 things over here I want to sort of go through. But again, it's following the workplace aspect of respect, valuing each participant of the work process, their individualities and contributions they make, and it unites their different backgrounds and experiences to produce a good item, good product, good service. Number 1, be open to the needs, interests, and feelings of others. Think about that. Be open to them? What are you talking about, Eric? What the heck, buddy? Seriously. If you know sort of what's going on in your team and those personalities, those relationships, when you're together talking about a certain item that you've done a brain dump into that vessel and you're stirring it around, you're debating, you're being respectful of others' feelings, others' thoughts, while discussing those things. Don't badmouth an idea. It might be a bad idea. But don't say, yeah, it's a bad idea, man. You don't want to do that. You want to talk through it. Maybe only part of their idea was bad. Maybe the other 75% of it is wonderful. And then you can build on that. Okay? Embrace transparency of core values. Most businesses have values or core values. Know what those are. Know what your leadership team should be doing it and demonstrating for you, the worker, or the middle manager. Upper management and lower management and normal employees all need to be on the same level when it comes to values. If you don't share values all throughout your organization, you will have holes, you will have stumbles. So just be transparent on that. Look, as a leadership team, do a consensus of your company. Look from top to bottom and see. I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about departments and processes. Do they really roll up to your core values? Typically, core values are between 3 and 5. You have some companies that have a little bit more, but mostly 3 to 5. Most of the time, it's really going to be 5. Okay? See differences as a strength. So you have old, you have young, you have experienced, you have newbies. Whatever that difference is, unpack it. Figure out what it is. Because as soon as you do that, those differences, while you have all those ideas that are dumped in that vessel that you're stirring around and you're debating those things, those differences will come out to make that solution or that product or that service better for your customer. Strengths can be found in those differences. Now the next 3 items are sort of, actually the next 2 are very vital about something else I'll talk to about in a few weeks. But value each person regardless of their role. So very important. It doesn't matter where somebody is in the pecking order. It doesn't matter where they are on the totem pole. Everybody brings value to your company or your team. The most experienced to the newest, it doesn't matter. They all can have a value. And you as a leader, you as a team lead, you as a senior upper management need to do that. You need to see that. Also, be curious and open to others' experiences and perspectives. People around you bring all sorts of different things into their life. And it's going to make your solution 10 times better when you ask and you receive that information. So vital. So something I'll talk about is another Lencioni book in philosophy, and I've talked about it just a little bit, one of my prior ones, but it's called The Working Genius. So if you are on a team, you want to have different people in different areas. Everybody has a strength and everybody has a weakness. one way or another. They might be closer together or they might be farther apart. But we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. So you want to exploit that in your team. You want to tap into, if you don't have a certain strength in a certain area, tap into it by someone who's not on your team. Go to them, talk to it, invite them into a boardroom. You'll be surprised of how these people that aren't normally in a conversation can all of a sudden bring an idea in, and it enhances what you already have. So please think about that. Question your assumptions before acting on them. This one's key. Assumptions, I'm going to say a quote, I'm going to bleep it out for you, because we might have some young, ears that are watching this. Maybe so, maybe not, hopefully. Assumptions are the mother of all us, right? They are. Assumptions are just based on what you have in your head. It's your opinion. I've never seen an assumption based on a fact. I've never seen an assumption have facts back it up. Because if it was facts were backing up an assumption, you just say the facts are. And it is true. When you assume, you take that ability to really look at something from a different perspective or a different angle. So again, you're not using others. You're not seeking differences. You're not valuing other people. And you're not using their other experiences and their perspectives if you're making assumptions. Sort of the last thing in this little bit right now is view all interactions as an opportunity to build an understanding and the relationship. It is very important that within a team, those relationships of your team members be strong. Because when there is something that's has a little tension, if they have a level of trust and that foundation is built strong like this, understanding those opportunities and those relationships will make any type of debate that needs to be done or any type of solution that comes to hand out of something that much stronger for your customers. I promise you that. Nothing in any company, in any business, in any team will never, ever produce something that, if you do it alone, will serve your customer well. The whole point of this podcast is building a better team with the customer in mind. So building a better team, it's how your team interacts. It's how you build and add people into it. And how you, when you're talking, you dump all those ideas into a vessel and you stir it around and you debate and you bring some type of solution out of it. That is how your team needs to function. Now, not every team is big. Not every team is small. Sometimes you have many members. Sometimes you have just a few. But you really need to look inside of that team. But also, be respectful in your actions that requires managing ourselves and being attuned to others. What I bring to the table, the baggage, if you will, that I bring to the table if I'm having a bad day, can really influence people around you and your team. When you're debating something, if you have a snarky attitude, if you have it don't matter to me, man, attitude, it's not going to work. Everybody has to be fully engaged in those interactions. Why? Because at that time, you need everybody participating. You need everybody to do a brain dump. You need everybody collaborating. Because at the end of the day, the more people you have working together, the more solid that foundation is, the stronger that foundation is. The trust factor in your team will benefit your customers so much more. Think about it. Think about what I've just described. And let's go back to the definitions a little bit. Right? Workplace respect is being valued, is about valuing each participant in the work process, their individualities and contributions that they make. It unites people with different backgrounds and life experiences and respect each other other than, no, sorry, and respect each other helps them overcome differences and ultimately produces a good product or service for your customer. Elevate it. Again, raving fans, right? Decide what you want. Discover what the customer wants, or know what the customer wants. And then deliver +1. If you can move the bar on your team 2%, 5% in each quarter, their end result to that customer is over the top better. That experience of that customer, of the service that they get, they will go talk to others. I had a great interaction at the office this week where we did just this. We have something going on, and we sat down, we used the whiteboard, and we did a brain dump on it. As we're doing the brain dump, we're actually discussing it back and forth. That's the stuff you need in your team. Build the trust, build the foundation, respect one another, and you will see it multiply. You will see so many flowers bloom. And I'm sorry, that's a really bad pun, but it's a really good one all at the same time. Why? Because we're in the month of May, right? April showers brings May flowers. Come on. It's the same thing in business. The more rain, the more stirring, the more discussion, the more people, the more interactions, the more you're going to blossom your product, the more you're going to see that positive energy flow out through your team and to your customers. They will absolutely love the fact of the way that they're being treated. If they love the way they are being treated, they are going to tell somebody. They're going to say, this is such a great experience. I know I pay 5% more for them. I do. But you know something? I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about that. They are going to, you're going to create raving fans out of them. You're going to create loyal customers out of them. Those loyal customers and those raving fans are going to be word of mouth that are going to go and help your sales team bring on new customers. They're going to refer people to you where your sales team doesn't even have to pick up a finger to find them. That's what the culture that you need to be stirring. If you have people on your team that don't respect others, if you don't respect your team or team members, turn the page. Just flip it this week. Flip it this week. We're going into a very interesting week in a lot of industries. It's not the last week of the month, but got a holiday coming up with Memorial Day. So stress level just goes up a notch. It does. It's a short week. People take off on Friday because they're off the following Monday. The more you can interact with your team, the more respect you have within the team, it will put bonds together of your team members, and ultimately your customer will win. That's where I want to leave it for today. It was a really, really, interesting subject that I brought out, respect. Now, I told a couple people that I was going to do it on respect, and they're like, really, Dig? Respect? I'm like, yeah. Because if I don't respect you on my team, how do I expect you to respect me? It is a two-way street. Not only is it a two-way street, it's an up and down street too. Why? Because the respect has to go up the chain and it has to come down the chain so that everybody can be right here. If everybody is right here and we're focused on collaboration and team and different things, your customer's going to win. Step it up a notch. Do an extra 2% this week. See your results. If you get bad results from stepping it up a notch and trying to get to where everybody's more equal and more inclusive in your conversations, I'd be interested to hear why. Is it because something else failed? Which is possible. You could find a weakness in changing certain things you're currently doing to involve others, to bring others to the table, plug them into different meetings, trying to find solutions, having conversations or debate. You could find problems somewhere else, but that's okay. Because then you can unpack that and you can learn from that. And ultimately, guess what happens? If you're making this better over here and you find a problem over here, then you start working on this problem and it finds a problem over here, and you work that problem, you just did your plus one. Why? Because you are doing what will ultimately elevate your customers' experience. Your team will be better, and you're building that team to serve your customer that much better. Shout out corner this week. We're going to do a little bit different in this one just because it's I had to do it this way this week. I'll be out of town next week, and so I might skip a podcast. I'm not really sure. I might do one while I'm gone. That'll be interesting how I edit it. But honestly, shout out corner. Military service members that ultimately sacrificed and their families. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done. You see it around my office here. You got 2 flags over there that you can see. You got 2 over here on my desk. I got on Patriot. I meant it. But I wasn't in the military. Thank you to and thank you to all those. We enter this week where Memorial Day is 2 Mondays from now. So next weekend's a short weekend, or a long weekend, I should say. I want to thank everybody of those that had fallen service members. I want to thank their loved ones. My thoughts and prayers go out to you as we have this very special day in our history of our country. And it is. We've had multiple major wars in our history, going all the way back to the colonial days, American Revolution, Civil War. We've had 2 world wars. We have the Gulf War. We have, all sorts of stuff. These servicemen pour their heart out for us to make sure that I can do podcasts like this, talking about teams and customers and being able to help others, because they fought and they paid the ultimate price of death, because they died on the battlefield. They died defending our freedom. I want everybody to understand that. We have so many freedoms in our culture right now that we take for granted. We think they're just given to us, but they're not. It's been a hard road to fight for what we have. And it's going to continue to be a hard fight for what we have and what we're going to need to keep in the future. A little bit of a history lesson here, though, before I move on to the next segment. This was originally called Decoration Day. And it was all the way back in 1868, a long time ago. But flowers were placed on the graves of fallen soldiers during the Civil War. So again, it's really, really old. It was first really celebrated in 1866, but it was really in 1868 where it got its official name. And in 1966, Congress and President Lyndon Johnson declared Waterloo, New York as the birthplace of Memorial Day, which is really cool. In 1971, Memorial Day was declared by an act of Congress to be an official government holiday and would fall on the last Monday of May. So you can see this web link right here if you want some more information on it. But all service members that have died in the line of duty, thank you for your service. God bless you, and thank you for our freedom. Quote of the week. So I got 2 quotes because one of them is I wanted to make sure that I had one that was unique. I had not heard this one before. This is in reference to Memorial Day. And there's one that literally everybody knows. Those who have long enjoyed such privileges as we enjoy forget in time that men died to win them. Franklin D. Roosevelt, that quote is from. Pretty impactful, which is 100% true. But this is the quote that everybody knows. Literally, it's been in TV shows, it's been in movies, it's been in commercials, it's in books that have nothing to do with this gentleman. But John F. Kennedy has one of the most famous quotes of all time. My fellow Americans, I ask what your country can do for you, Ask what you can do for your country. Again, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. John F. Kennedy. Again, two great gentlemen, great presidents of these United States of America. And go upon this week, if you see a veteran, even though they are not, they're walking around, which is great, thank them for their service. If you see an active military member wearing his fatigues or his dress uniform, tell him thank you for his service, or her service. It's because of them. They are putting their lives on the line each and every day for us. Because we are Americans. We are the United States of America. We have the greatest military on the planet. And I guarantee you one day that those kind words will serve them so well. So please do that. Well, we've reached another end of an episode 13. I appreciate everybody being here. If you want to drop me a line, you definitely can. Email address is above. I would love to have interactions with you, make this a little bit more enjoyable for you, the watcher or listener. Please subscribe here on YouTube or on LinkedIn. I hope everybody has a blessed week. Thank you for watching or listening. Till next time, take care.